There's a moment in a good man's life that doesn't look dramatic at all. No fight, no breakdown, no explosion. It usually happens quietly. After work, sitting in the car, not going inside right away, not because he hates his life, but because he's tired of being needed by everyone except himself. For years, he's the one people call when something goes wrong, never when something goes right. The one who takes on extra work and deletes his own plans to do it. And no one calls it sacrifice, they just call it who he is. That's the invisible cost of being the reliable one. Everyone depends on you, but no one checks on you. And maybe you didn't know you were training them to expect that. You give your weekends, your sleep, your time. You say yes so often that one day you realize you haven't said yes to yourself in years. And here's the part no one warns you about. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone because they don't see you, they see what you provide. And one day a question slips in. What about me? It doesn't feel selfish. This isn't a man turning cold. It's the story of a man finally waking up. And sometimes the first sign of that awakening is choosing to stand alone for a while. Not because he's broken, but because he's done running on empty. When your value is measured in money, you come home late, you're tired. The first thing waiting for you isn't, how was your day? It's a bill on the table. You check your phone while eating. A client needs something fixed. School fees are due. The car needs servicing. There's always something. You nod, you calculate, you make it work. No one asks what it costs you to keep it running. You get sick for 2 weeks. The first question isn't, are you okay? It's how long can you be out? That's when you see it clearly. As long as you provide, you're needed. The moment your value becomes money, you're no longer respected. You're just expected. So one day you stop overextending and suddenly you feel the distance. Money is what you earn. Value is what you decide you are. The loneliness of being needed. Your phone rings all day. Someone needs advice. Someone needs money. Someone needs you to fix something. You answer. One day you run into trouble at work. You call a friend just to talk it through. He says he's busy. He'll call back. He doesn't. No message. No check-in. That's when you see it. You're useful, not supported. You're the one people lean on. But when you lean back, they shift their weight. That's the part no one prepares you for. So you adjust. You stop answering every call immediately. You stop being available by default. And suddenly you see who respects you and who only needed you. The quiet distance. Jemmy's marriage doesn't fall apart overnight. It cools down slowly, so slowly you almost don't notice. They still talk, but only about logistics and problems that need fixing. What went wrong this week? No one asks, what's been heavy on you lately? The warmth is gone. The curiosity is gone. What's left feels functional, not close. At home, he's criticized more often than he's understood. About money being tight, about life getting harder, about how he should have handled things better. Not big failures, just the kind of mistakes most men make sometimes. Coming home too late, drinking a little with his friends, breaking a promise here and there, never on purpose. He tries to explain himself. It turns into another trial. So eventually he stops talking, not because he doesn't care, because he's tired of defending his character. The silence wasn't punishment, it was restraint. Over time, something hardens inside him. Living like that feels less like a marriage and more like a contract you're failing. And once a man feels like a guest in his own home, he knows something has to change. He stops reacting to every criticism. He stops explaining himself just to keep the peace. Whether he stays or leaves, he refuses to shrink. The slow collapse. He doesn't explode. He starts pulling back. At work, he stops volunteering. At home, he stops arguing. He does what's required, nothing more. He sleeps later, scrolls longer, answers shorter. No drama, just less effort. When someone asks, "How's it going?" he says, "Fine." And one day he realizes something important. He's been living on autopilot. Most men don't collapse. They fade, slowly enough that no one notices. And drifting feels safe until one day you wake up and 10 years are gone. If that line hit you harder than you expected, leave a like. Not for me, for the version of you that refuses to drift. That's the wake up. Because the moment a man sees the pattern, he can change it. He's still standing, still earning, still functioning, which means he's not done. If he doesn't decide, someone else will decide for him. Choosing himself is not selfish. Men are told their job is simple: provide, protect, don't complain. But I've seen too many men wait until burnout forces them to change. Not rebellion, just finally saying no without apologizing for it. Sometimes that starts with a conversation, not a disappearance. You don't need to stretch yourself thin to be liked. You don't have to force yourself to maintain the image of a good man. Being good without boundaries doesn't make you respected. It makes you convenient. But shutting down completely doesn't make you strong either. Strength also means saying what you feel instead of expecting people to guess. Some men chose to step away from home for a while just to regain their balance. Others didn't run anywhere. They simply went quiet and stopped explaining themselves. And some made an even stronger decision. They chose to walk away. Let them call you selfish. They're not the ones living your life. What matters is this: you know what you want, and you stop letting guilt decide for you. Single by choice. This chapter is for men who chose a single life afterward, not because he was running away, but because he chose to live with more freedom and meaning. He still works and earns his money. Every month, he sends support to his ex-wife. From time to time, he picks up his child and takes them out. He chose distance from conflict, not from his child. A calmer man makes a steadier father. He still cares. It's just that his evenings are quieter now, lighter, with less pressure and no arguments. You don't avoid connection. When you like someone, you can date, but without binding yourself. You simply avoid situations where your own needs always come last. Choosing to be single isn't a hatred of women or a rejection of love. It's raising your standards. He's no longer impressed by attention. He's impressed by consistency. Before, the door was wide open for anyone who needed a hero. Now he only lets in someone who can stand on their own. A man who knows his value doesn't bargain. He just walks away from a bad deal. Like pulling over, not because the car broke down, but because you refuse to burn the engine out. Ryan has been single for 2 years. He meets someone kind, interested, available. Then the expectations start. More access, more explanations, less breathing room. He doesn't fight for it. He chooses peace and leaves quietly. He's done mistaking intensity for intimacy. If the price of having her in his bed is losing the peace in his head, the price is too high. Peace over companionship. He stopped lending money without a plan. He stopped showing up for every crisis. He didn't announce it. He just changed his availability. And something shifted. The people who needed him the most disappeared. The ones who respected him stayed. That's when it became clear. Overgiving doesn't create loyalty. It creates dependency. And dependency disappears the moment you stop feeding it. So he stepped back. Not to isolate himself, but to see who could stand without leaning on him. He didn't lose friends. He saw them clearly. The group chat got quieter, but his mind got clearer, not louder, lighter. back in his spine. Single by choice was never about rejecting love. It was about rebuilding the man who would never beg for it again, so that when love shows up again, he can meet it as a better man, not a resentful one. Choosing himself was never about closing doors. It was about learning how to walk through them without losing himself. If someone walks into his life, they meet a man who is whole, not a half-built house asking someone to finish it, not hungry, not negotiating his worth. That's what changed, not his heart, his spine, straight again. You can feel it in the way he stands, in the way he says no. A man who no longer needs validation can't be manipulated, because you can't buy him, and you can't break him anymore. That's the spine we build on Move or Die Stoic. Unshakable, you can't scare him with loneliness. He's not asking for a seat at your table anymore. He's comfortable building his own. Take a look at your phone right now. Look at the last 5 people you helped. If you stop providing tomorrow, how many of them would still call you? Don't answer me. Write it below. Sit with that for a second. If that thought makes your chest tighten, that's not anxiety. That's awareness. Not every man is a good man, and becoming a good man with clarity and self-respect is even harder. You've been tested. You've swallowed your share of bitterness. You've learned the hard way what loyalty costs and what silence teaches. And you've also learned that you weren't perfect either. Sometimes you were so busy surviving that you forgot to be present. Now it's time to put yourself back in your own life. Not louder, not angrier, just higher. If you can look at yourself at the end of the day and feel steady, that's enough. That's growth. It doesn't trend. It doesn't get applause, but it rebuilds you. And the man who stands there calm in his own skin no longer needs to compete. If you're building this kind of spine, subscribe to Move or Die Stoic. This is where men come to rebuild, not complain. We don't chase trends, but when we do, it's for men who are done disappearing,